Hello everyone, I'm Melissa Duran. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Trending Vegas. Now, the world is starting to feel a lot more normal since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, which means we thankfully have a lot of things to talk about today. I'm joined by a portion of the city's social media team, including Jennifer Davies and Natasha Shahani. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. The Life is Beautiful Festival was back in full force this past month, and the crowds and the artists, well, they did not disappoint. First, I want to show you a few seconds of this video so you can see how massive the crowds were. So let's take a look. Then from Life is Beautiful themselves, that's day one. Done. Thank you to every single one of you that chased live with us for the past 2 years. It's so good to be back. Next from Spinach Addict, thank you for surviving the pandemic and coming back. I was scared we were gonna lose you. And finally from Whatever with JJ, if life is beautiful, then why is this festival being allowed while Nevada is in the middle of its second biggest COVID surge since the pandemic began? And of course, the list goes on and on, more positive than negative. But Natasha, I want to start with you because you were actually there. Explain what it was like being back at a festival with this size, with this amount of crowd.
So I don't think it hit me until like day one, and I was working the festival. I freelance for them every year, so I've been every year, and I was like, I don't know about this. And so I went with a mask, but my health check, when I checked in for my credentials, they made me show my vaccination. They gave me a health check wristband. They made sure people had the Clear app. They all got health checks, so you had to provide either a negative test or proof of vaccination, which made me feel a little more comfortable. So I had my mask all 3 days, and I got a little more comfortable each day being without it. It was crazy to see that many people all at once again. Yeah. It's something I haven't seen in 2 years. So that was kind of overwhelming the first day. But once that kind of anxiety passed, it was just like, oh my gosh, we are back, right? And everyone did what they were comfortable with. People were wearing masks if that's what they wanted. People weren't. Everyone was kind of being respectful of people's space as much as that you can in a festival when it's super crowded. Right. But Life is Beautiful was back in full force, and it was a beautiful thing to see.
Oh, that's great news. Jen, what are you seeing on social, or anything from the city's standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, we were actually kind of surprised at the lack of really complaints that we got this year about the festival. I think they get better and better every year of telling residents what are going on and providing resources to them if it's impacting their daily life, if they're in the footprint of the actual festival. But in general, I think it was just really exciting for downtown to see some of the life coming back and the beautiful color that Life is Beautiful brings to the city, not just during the festival, but before and after, with all of the artwork that goes up and all of the amazing performances that take place. I thought it was really exciting to live through all of that through social media.
I love watching it through social media because the artwork just really blows my mind. And you talk about Instagram-worthy walls or, places where you want to take those photos, and Life is Beautiful, I feel like it's just one big Instagram opportunity, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Life is Beautiful letters are some of my favorite activation because they change every year, and there's always a line forming, and people are really respectful of giving people their space to get the full thing. The artwork just gets better and better, and it stays after the festival.
Yeah.
And it's not just for festival attendees, it's for everyone to come and enjoy.
It's really funny because when the pandemic hit and we were all working from home and the kids were home and everyone was kind of trying to find their footing, I took my kids downtown and took these beautiful photos with these murals because I thought, you know what, let's go capture these murals right now. This just feels very community oriented, very loved. It's a great experience. I do want to mention that the iHeart Music Festival was also in town at the same time. That was another huge event. And then this past weekend, big sporting events. We had the Raiders, the Golden Knights, the Aviators were playing. We had a UFC fight, and we had an event at the Motor Speedway. So I feel like Las Vegas is just really getting its handle on how they're handling vaccinations and that kind of thing. What are you seeing, Jen?
Absolutely. I mean, we see so much community pride around professional sports, so that's been really awesome to help foster through social media, because it just gives Las Vegas something to come together about. And I think we're really showing the world that for anyone that didn't think sports could work in Vegas, we're obviously proving that it can.
Yeah, isn't it crazy to think that just a few years ago, I mean 6-7 years ago, we had nothing.
Yeah.
We had nothing. And now we have a professional women's basketball team. We have everything at our fingertips. So it's just an amazing thing to be a part of. I do want to mention that obviously Marc-Andre Fleury is no longer with us. He's with the Chicago Blackhawks. I do want to post this photo of him because this got a lot of attention. It broke a lot of people's hearts to see him in a Blackhawk jersey. But a lot of people, especially here in Las Vegas, noticed that in his helmet, if you zoom in, you can actually see the Golden Knight emblem. That was probably just his old helmet, but people were like, he misses us. He really does. And so we miss him, and we wish him, of course, the best in Chicago. All right, guys, some big headway was also made on the COVID-19 vaccine after the FDA approved emergency use authorization for a booster shot for some populations. Also, children between 5 and 11 years old may soon be able to get the vaccine. First, this from NPR. New Pfizer says early results of its trials show that COVID vaccine is safe and effective for children ages 5 to 11. This user says, I'll get my 11-year-old vax as soon as I can. Thank you, scientists and healthcare workers. This person argues, Pfizer says their vaccine is safe. What did you expect? McDonald's wouldn't come out and say their Big Mac is disgusting. Huge news. The FDA panel votes against Pfizer's COVID-19 booster jab application for general population. Approves third dose for over 65 and at-risk groups, similar to the UK approach. So, a lot to talk about in here. The booster shot, they're coming out, they're saying those above 65, those who work or who are severely immunocompromised, as well as those who work in areas that are exposed to COVID a lot, healthcare workers, frontline workers, grocery store workers. I think this is really interesting. I'm excited to get my booster shot. I do not mind saying that or disclosing that. Obviously, you guys don't have to disclose your beliefs, but I guess I'm anxious for a booster shot, and I, though, got the Moderna shot. So I'm waiting for them to say, Moderna has a booster shot. And I'm going, okay, when is it coming? When is it coming? When is it coming? And I'm trying to stay relaxed and say, it'll get here when it's the right time. But everyone, what are you guys seeing? Are you getting questions yet?
Well, it was just announced this this morning, that the Southern Nevada Health District is ready to give out boosters starting today. So we're taping this on Tuesday, September 28th, just for clarification purposes. And it's only the Pfizer booster, as you were mentioning. And the outline is, those who are eligible for booster include people who have completed their 2-dose series of the Pfizer vaccine at least 6 months ago. Okay. So it's for people 65 years and older, and residents in long-term care facilities, people aged 50 to 64 with underlying conditions, and people aged 18 to 49 with underlying conditions may receive a booster shot based on their individual benefits and risks. So if you can get a booster, my personal belief is go get your booster, right? And just keep yourself safe, and therefore keep our community safe.
I have heard, and maybe you guys have heard this too, a lot of people are trying to skirt the rules and say, well, I need a booster, and they're trying to get their, manipulate the system. And, you guys just listen to your doctors. What are your doctors saying? What is the CDC saying? What is the FDA saying? So just keep all of that in mind and to make the choice. I'm waiting for them to come out and say, Moderna's ready. They're saying that could be a few more weeks, but okay, a few more weeks. I'm going to get the flu shot in the meantime so that I can be ready to get the COVID-19 booster shot. But I want to turn it now to the kids side of this, because this is a little bit more touchy. And Jen, I want to talk to you because you have kids too. For me, it's a no-brainer. I wanted to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Let's do it. I look at my 7-year-old, I look at my 5-year-old, and I go, okay, I want to, but I find myself a little bit more hesitant because I feel a greater sense of responsibility for their little lives. So I can see a lot of parents going back and forth going, no, I'm not ready to do this just yet. What are you saying on social?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I've seen on social is a lot of parents saying, yes, I probably do want to get it, but maybe take the wait and see approach. My daughter is also, she's in first grade, so she's in school. And to me, as a parent, I'm encouraged that this is coming out because it feels like it's just a return to normalcy. I don't know that my daughter will have any adverse effects if she gets COVID. We're seeing a rise in children's cases, but serious illnesses are still thankfully, the lion's share are still in adults and in the elderly and in the unvaccinated. But I'm encouraged that at least a vaccine will be available so that school life can stay normal.
Yeah.
Because even though kids are back in school, and we're thankful for that, it's also still confusing. If they come into contact with someone, the whole class has to quarantine. If they have any symptoms that might just be a cold, they have to go home and quarantine. And it's really hard to explain to your child, especially one that needs to be in school because she's so young, why they have to stay home. And so I'm in support of anything that really can keep us on that normal path and keep our kids in school.
I mean, listen, I've been saying this on the show forever. I need my kids in school. So more than likely than not, I will give my kids the shots when it is approved. I also find it interesting that we're at work, we wear masks and we social distance and, we're vaccinated. These little ones, they are not vaccinated. The schools do the best they can to make sure the kids keep wearing the mask and the kids are, my son says that he's not allowed to sit next to really anybody at lunch. They have assigned seats, but they're still kids. And they cough and they sneeze and they wipe and they touch. And it's, they're the ones that they have all the germs and they're going to bring it home. So, something to think about and a lot of more controversy I'm sure we'll hear on this topic as we move on. Okay, guys, well, some other great news for Las Vegas. The president has eased up on travel bans, which is huge for our economy. People from the UK and EU are dying to get back over here. Here's a few tweets. U.S. lifts COVID travel ban for British holidaymakers. Starting in November, individuals who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 will be able to fly to the U.S. from anywhere in the world. Then there is this from Las Vegas, UK. Another day closer to returning to Vegas. I am not sure that feeling of landing at LAS airport for the first time after 22 months away will be able to be beaten. He also posted this hilarious meme of John Corden and Kanye in a plane dancing on their way to Vegas. All of us Brits heading to Vegas from November. So it's just a really great feeling to think like, oh, they're coming back. I reached out to the airport and I wanted to get some stats from them. So in calendar year 2019, this was before the pandemic hit, they had 3.8 million international passengers.
Holy moly.
That's a lot of passengers, y'all. When I said, okay, well, how does that compare to 2020? He said, Melissa, I'm not even going to give you that number because it's not even a dent. It's not worth giving out. There was nobody pretty much. And so I just think to myself, wow, think about 3.8 million, think about the millions and millions of dollars to our economy, think about the jobs this could bring back. This is huge. What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, it's actually really funny on social. We have a lot of international fans that follow us, and a lot of them are British, and they are over the moon that they're going to be able to come back. Throughout the last 22 months, we get messages all the time on Messenger like, hey, have the rules changed? And I think that it's just really encouraging to see the excitement that they have to get back here and experience Las Vegas.
And I think one of the questions they were wondering is, with the AstraZeneca shot, which they got, is that going to be allowed? And I believe that answer is yes, as long as it's fully vaccinated.
I think that is the case. I mean, I would recommend them to check all the travel criteria. I think
right, because there are requirements.
Right, there are requirements. You want to make sure. I know I had a friend who was trying to travel during COVID, and she got to the airport and her passport was like a month or two away from expiring and they wouldn't let her on the flight. So if you're planning travel, check the requirements from your country and the country you're visiting, check your passport, make sure you have everything in line, and make sure to just stay up to date on the travel restrictions or the travel guidance that each state or each city has. I mean, coming to Las Vegas, you have to know, as of right now, we are required to wear masks indoors. And so just be prepared for that. But we can't wait to welcome more people back. And I know, like Jen was mentioning, there are people who've been messaging us throughout this whole time being like, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. Yeah. And finally they can come back and experience Las Vegas again.
I mean, you talk about the crowds that we've been seeing in the month of September. That was crazy, right? These massive crowds. And then to think that we don't even have international travelers on top of that from the UK, EU, from other places they're going, well, we want in on the action too. So think about how much busier we are going to get as time goes on. I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, and it seemed really slow in terms of new things that have opened, but there's still so many changes to Vegas in the last 22 months. Circa opened downtown.
Yep.
We put up our archway to welcome people into the downtown area.
Yep.
The arts district is booming. So even they haven't been here in a long time, and I think they're going to find so many more things to fall in love with.
Brewery Row,
Yeah.
you guys are going to have a blast. All right, guys. Well, finally today, we want to touch on the Gabby Petito case. She is the young woman who went missing and was later found dead tragically. She was on a road trip to national parks throughout the U.S. with her fiance, who is now a suspect, but is on the run at the time of this taping. Now, the whole case brings up a lot of questions, including better training for officers to spot the signs of domestic abuse, and also raises some questions about the power of social media. First, here's a few tweets from the event. Brian Laundrie owned those cops. They never asked for proper ID or registration. They never cited Brian for speeding. They never circled back to 911 eyewitness saying he slapped her. Instead, they cited Gabby, gave Brian a ride and a free hotel room. That is just someone's opinion, just not fact. Putting that out there. Then this, I still stand by the fact that the saddest detail in all of this is the lack of training for police officers in domestic violence situations. Moab police could have saved Gabby Petito's life. Again, opinion. Finally, Brian Laundrie is believed to have been spotted on Baker, Florida at 6 a.m. on September 20th. People are speculating he is heading to the Blackwater River State Forest using the Florida Trail. Anyone in that area, please be alert. So many things to discuss about this. Let's talk about the domestic violence situation, because I think this brings up interesting points. Those officers that pulled over the couple in Moab, Utah, they've gotten a lot of flack for not spotting the signs, even though it was about 2 weeks before she was killed. I don't necessarily think it's fair to blame those officers and saying that you could have saved her life, but it does make me think, you know what kind of training are these officers getting to spot a domestic violence victim? Is there enough, or does more training need to be done? First off, what are you seeing?
I think on even my personal social media, and not just talking about the officers, but everyone, right? Mm-hmm. People have become more open about their personal struggles, and friends have opened up about, even Gabby's friends have been like, she should have gotten out of that. This was bad for her. And friends who have experienced domestic violence or verbal abuse in relationships have said, like, I couldn't get out, you know? So I think maybe just more awareness from people in general about what is going on, checking in on your friends, checking in to make sure they're okay, helping them if you do say, see something, say something, because there's a lot that probably everyone in Gabby's life could have done if this has been going on for a really long time. So I think training would be great from park rangers and officers and people out in public, but on a personal matter, like if you know something is happening, don't let it go. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And I think it really hits home in Nevada. I mean, Nevada has one of the highest rates of domestic violence of any states in the country. And so it's just a good reminder for everyone to, protect your friends and family, because you never know that thing that you let go, or don't say anything about could have real world implications later on.
Right, and you have to think about, a zero tolerance policy, which Nevada has, and things like that, and separation for maybe more than one day, or, having to talk to a professional before allowing someone to come back together.
And getting messages about other missing women and seeing on my social, like, why is this getting all the attention? What about these hundreds of other women, or these 20 women in Vegas that we can't find? And so we started getting messages like that too. So I think it is a very interesting point. Like, why are people drawn to this case when every day there are missing people, and those people are missing women, and where are they?
Why do you think that is? Because she's a YouTuber? Or, she wasn't even that popular, correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I think some stories stick more than others.
They just grab people. And I think, kind of like that case in Colorado when that man murdered his wife who was pregnant and murdered their children. And she had documented their life so extensively on social media that it makes you feel connected to them. So I'm sure that's part of it, is that people went back and rewatched all of this content where you feel like you know her and she's your friend and you need to try to solve what happened to her. But I can't imagine from law enforcement's perspective the overwhelming amount of evidence that must exist when so many people are doing the job of a professional.
Right.
And how you even make sense of that would be really overwhelming.
And this is also just a reminder that what you see from people's posts on Instagram, not reality all the time.
Right.
They're playing a part, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So always check in with your friends. Are you okay? Do you need help? Because just because they're smiling on Instagram and Facebook doesn't mean that things are okay at home. So great discussion, ladies. Thank you so much. All right, well, we are coming up on Fire Prevention Week, and there are several tips we have from our local firefighters on how to keep your family safe when we come back.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Welcome back, everyone. Fire Prevention Week is just a few days away, and there are a lot of activities you all can participate in. I'm joined by our Fire Prevention Inspector, Melanie Denon, who is going to give us all the details. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So I love having you on the show because every single time you're on the show with me, I feel like I learn something new. And
That's awesome.
Fire Prevention Week is coming up, and one of the things that you told me is that you guys are really focusing on people telling the difference between the sound of a fire alarm and a carbon monoxide sound.
Yes,
I
yes.
had no idea they let off different sounds.
Yes, each one sounds different. So we want people to know the difference between a smoke alarm,
Okay.
meaning there's usually fire where there's smoke, and carbon monoxide, which is a silent killer. You can't always smell it. So every year people die from carbon monoxide poisoning, whether they have a leak in their home or they try and heat their home with a generator, but it's not exhausting correctly. So we want people to know the difference between the two. There's also a lot of new technology out, like a Nest.
Okay.
The Nest smoke and carbon monoxide system, it talks to you. So it will talk and then it will alarm. It will say, smoke detected, please exit the building. And then it'll sound the beeping alarm too. So we want people to understand the difference because the way you react to each one is different also.
Okay, and so how does a carbon monoxide, I know I don't necessarily want you to do the sound right now,
Yes.
but what is it? Is it a beeping?
It's more of a faster beeping than a smoke alarm.
Okay.
So yeah, and we're going to have events going on throughout the week where you can actually hear the different sounds of the different fire alarms and smoke alarms and carbon monoxide and everything.
Okay.
So at our open house on October 2nd, we will have different smoke alarms, different carbon monoxide detectors. We'll have a Nest and some other different systems that are out there that could be either commercially or residentially, so you'll be able to hear all the different sounds and see what they sound like. Or what they look like,
Okay.
because if you have somebody who is hard of hearing, your safety devices actually will flash, or they'll attach to the bed and they'll vibrate the bed to wake somebody up if they are deaf and cannot hear.
Okay.
So
A lot of options. And where is
yes.
that open house?
It will be at Fire Station 41.
Okay.
It's 6989 North Buffalo, just south of Centennial Hills Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we'll have Councilwoman Fiore will be joining us for that too. So, and Chief Buchanan, the fire chief. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And what time is that from?
It's from 9 to noon.
Okay.
We have a lot of community stakeholders coming, a lot of the first responder community. SWAT and Metro will be there. Our bomb squadron is going to do a detonation demonstration. Heavy rescue and technical rescue will be there doing extrication demonstrations and high-rise rescue demonstrations.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have a bike rodeo for kids along with Clark County School District, and we'll be giving away free helmets and bicycles.
Wow, you guys
So-
are doing a lot.
Yes, we'll have free breakfast for the public also.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks to Councilwoman Fiore, she's amazing. And we'll have our fire safety house. So you can actually practice escaping your home when there is smoke and a fire, whether through the window or through the door. So we teach kids and their parents how to escape, two ways out of every room.
Right.
We actually have like a live demonstration with Halloween smoke and all that. So you actually get to see what it's really like.
Wow.
Yeah, so if it ever happens, you're less likely to panic and
Right.
you'll do the right thing when it comes to escaping your home.
And I do have to say, it's such valuable information because every time I have Melanie on, I go home and I teach my kids, well, we have to do this. And I've gotten my 7-year-old very heavily vested in
Awesome.
it. He draws out his own plans and he knows
Nice.
his way out. He knows
Yes.
where we meet. If we exit the house, we know where our meeting spot is across the
Yes.
street. That kind of thing. Before we get on to the rest of the week, I want to ask you something about carbon monoxide that crosses my mind a lot. How long before do you have to exit a house before carbon monoxide can kill you?
It just depends. You know,
Okay.
everybody's different. It depends on the amount of carbon monoxide that is in the home, whether it's a little bit or a lot. We tell people if your carbon monoxide detector goes off, immediately exit the home and then call 911.
Okay.
The fire department we have special detectors that will go in and they have their safety gear so they're not inhaling it. And they'll determine if it's like a faulty alarm, or it'll also tell you what level the carbon monoxide is.
Okay.
So they can kind of tell where it's coming from. If you suspect you might, be getting carbon monoxide poisoning, headache, nausea, severe sleepiness, all of a sudden, everybody all together at once has a headache.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, even if your carbon monoxide detector hasn't gone off, open the windows and doors, exit the building, and then call 911.
Okay.
And we'll come in and we'll check it to see if it's gas, carbon monoxide, whatever. So.
All right.
And usually it only, most of the time it happens in homes with gas appliances.
Okay.
So.
Very good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the rest of the week. So we covered October 2nd. What else do you
Yes.
guys have going on that week?
On October 4th in Ward 1, Councilman Knutson is going to help us deliver pizzas.
Oh.
So if you call Pizza Hut on Decatur and Meadows and you're within their delivery area, select calls. If you let us come in and just check your smoke alarms, make sure they're not over 10 years old, make sure they don't need to be changed. If they do need to be changed, we'll do it for free. And in exchange, you get a free meal from Pizza Hut.
I mean, that is
And we
a
deliver
win-win.
on a fire engine. So
I mean, that's a
You get
win-win.
pizza delivered on the fire from the fire engine, from the fire department and Councilman Knutson.
Yeah.
Because we really want to stress the importance of having working smoke alarms in your home.
Right.
The majority of fatal fires are in the home. And the majority of them are from non-working smoke alarms. And so it can completely be prevented. So we're doing that October 4th.
Okay.
October 6th, we will be doing that in Ward 3
Okay.
in Councilman Diaz's ward, or Councilwoman Diaz. She's going to be joining us also and helping us deliver. On Wednesday the 6th, it will be the Pizza Hut on Charleston and Bruce, so the delivery area around there.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to order pizza and have a free meal and let us check your smoke alarms to make sure they're working, call
Give
the
them a
Pizza
call.
Huts and we'll come deliver to you on the fire engine.
Maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones.
Yes,
And
yes.
what else? Is that all you've got going on?
October 9th is the last day of Fire Prevention Week. We have 3 events that day.
Oh.
If you want to go bowling and help raise money for the Firefighters of Southern Nevada Burn Foundation and the UMC Lions Burn Unit, Strike Zone at Sunset Station is going to be hosting bowling, and the proceeds go to the burn unit and the Burn Foundation, which is kind of like a Ronald McDonald House for burn victims.
Right.
UMC has one of the best burn units on the West Coast, so a lot of people come from other states here. So the Burn Foundation helps families and children who are burned. They help the parents. We send kids to Camp Beyond the Scars, so it's really nice for that. And so you can go down there and again, practice in our fire safety house and help a really good cause. And we also are a couple local Lowe's that day for Fire Protection Day. So you
Okay.
can go and learn about fire protection systems for your home, smoke alarms, smoke detectors, and like the new Nest,
Right.
systems that actually talk to you too, which are really neat.
Well, you guys are doing a lot. We wish you
Yes.
the best of
Thank
luck.
you
Thanks
very
for getting
much.
all the news out. So, such an important topic.
Yes, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for Trending Vegas. Remember, you can catch us on KCLV.TV or streaming on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. All you have to do is download our Go Vegas app. Finally, if you want to make sure to never miss an episode, you can subscribe to our Trending Vegas newsletter using the QR code on your screen. Just put your camera phone over the code to scan and follow the prompts. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.